Excel. That's our prime, skill. Data analysis with Excel, with all those graphs, charts, pivot tables, the slicing, and all those different filters we learned and everything. Right now, here we are trying to understand how we can get it done in terms of Tableau also. Tableau can be downloaded from tableau.com. They need to you need to get registered if you want to use cloud, and there are a good number of part and parcel of this Tableau platform. You can clearly think about data storage and format. That's what they call hyper. Data protocols.com, data preparation with Tableau. So Tableau have a special data preparation builder. What it means, it converts data from any other format to Tableau. Tableau has its own way of handling data, and that's why they have this special prep builder, as they call it normally. So here they pre-cook the data, so the retrieval process is handled by this prep builder kind of software facility available in the Tableau. And then we can connect and explore the data with the Tableau desktop versions or Tableau public versions. Okay, desktop is basically kind of a smaller version or reduced version. Public is a general version which is available as a product to everybody. So what we are talking about, we are talking about using a complete full-fledged Tableau. Might be a bit of trial period if you're not paid. This is totally paid product. They might give you some tutorials and everything, but Tableau, as they have started, they've never given community editions, like other softwares which give. But yeah, they give you some trials sometimes, and that you can find it on these Tableau product link in their website. And basically, how the Tableau works is basically you have a Tableau client, in the sense you have a client on your laptop, desktop, smartphone and all, and you normally connect to a Tableau server. So that server is basically hired by you, procured by you, and this is what we can say a cloud server. So there's an internet server from which you normally address this Tableau software license. You normally get the data with the prep builder, and then you normally process it. It's not as an Excel. You normally just access the file, and Excel's try to retrieve it, convert it according to your needs and according to your thought process. Yes, but left manager is not at all flexible. Yes, Anusha ma'am, you want to say something? Hello, Anusha ma'am, can you hear me? Okay, might be a mistake or something, but no problem. So here we are trying to understand the Tableau as a product, right? And in terms of various templatization, even Tableau have good number of templatization, like we seen in Power BI. They prepare these solutions and keep it ready for whenever there's a new data. You can just repeat the same procedure as prior, and you can get it prepared in terms of the visualization. Again, this is more of a visualization tool rather than anything else. There's a very small amount of programming allowed here, but mostly what they do, you can store the script, as they normally refer to, while building the solution. So script, like in Excel we build some JavaScript, but in Tableau even there are very what you can say restricted programming or restricted scripting allowed in terms of Tableau as a product. Tableau is also used by a good number of companies, specifically in terms of logistics or sales forecasting and those kind of scenarios. So normally Tableau start with something like a dashboarding solution which is built by your own company. So you normally run those scripts, and with click, whenever you run those dashboarding scripts, you'll normally tend to get a dashboard from the same data source. So the data source can be on a web page, another server, or can be on your local SQL database, MySQL database, and all those things. These prep builder has all these conversion what you can say tools built into Tableau, and they keep updating this prep builder as per the new database, as per the new software where you normally store the data. They have they also include the Excel file converter. So basically, we'll have a look at a workflow where we'll try to understand how Excel can be used at a Tableau. Okay, and this tutorial, which I'm going to showcase you, and I'm going to share some more as well. So these tutorial basically guide us how to use Excel for a dashboarding thing. Dashboarding is a web page or a page published for a given employee set, where you have certain pre-built solution, like how much item you sold yesterday, what are the sales target this day, this week, this month, how we are doing in terms of selling these many things, and it's in a good visualization manners. So all these graphs and charts, whatever we've seen in Excel, these are similar in Tableau also, plus they have additional graphical chart like 3D charts and all those things additional to Excel, Excel graphical chart. And these charts have been developed for some company, and then they have released it to each and every of their clients. So as a product, normally whenever you try to procure a new version, you might get a new advanced type of these charts, these visualizations. And that's why organization mostly use Tableau to have these visualizations which are pre-cooked, ready for them, so that you can just click 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 and start using these visualization by Tableau. In Excel, we might need to build, we might need to again cut, copy, paste that script and get it run. Here is just the buttons you need to click, and that's all. But again, this is a restrictive thing, which is, you can say it's a pre-programmed scenario, right? So it's like an what you can say, application on your mobile. You might use certain features are not allowed, and all those things. So similarly, Tableau has a much restricted way of data analysis rather than an Excel. Does that make sense? Anybody worked on Tableau here?
No. I have used Tableau when I was studying business analytics.
Oh wow, good. Great. So what are the best part you find in Tableau than Excel, if I may ask this question?
I really like the flexibility, in the sense like you can use 3 attributes with when you want to come up with any visualization, like any type of graphs or charts. But whereas in Tableau, if you see, there are more than 25 types of charts that you can prepare. And at the same time, for using the pivot tables, you can do the average of couple of attributes. But whereas here, you can have at least n number of rows, attributes in the rows, and number of attributes in the column. And you can present that summarization, whether it's a quarterly sales, monthly sales, and in any different type of charts. It was and you can also use discrete of each and every attribute. There are various group functions like sum, average, discrete. There are distinctively, you can do the monthly sales based on the salesman ID. There are various things that you can do it, and I really was fascinated by Tableau.
That's good. But in Excel, we couldn't restrict ourselves for charts and graph. It's a raw tool. You can program it, or you can use it and tweak it as you want. So there's no restriction as such. Even say to attribute, categories, or types, you have unlimited. At least you can have 255 plus kind of categories wherever you can use those things as well. So,
but you cannot put 2 and 3 charts together. But the best thing is that I can compare the charts in one dashboard.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's because it's already pre-programmed kind of scenario. That's rightly said. But in there are comparisons available on Google also. So if you really find it intriguing, please go through them also. I personally feel Excel is much more flexible in terms of building our own thing. Only you need to first study how to build this, how to program it in its sense. Tableau is a pre-prepared product, software product. So they are specified in certain better type of visualizations or better type of graph which might suit to your need. In Excel, you might need to build it by yourself. Again, it's a perception and it's a preference for every working analyst in that scenario. So that's thanks a lot for the insight, Hadi ma'am. Let me play you a small video. Thanks, ma'am. Let me
Recording in
this thing
progress.
very well. So if you want to really refresh your MySQL, please have a look at that as well. And I'll share the presentation as well so that you can understand, or I have that link embedded here, so you can have a look at the others as well. Okay. Any questions so far?
Yes, I have a question. The last video that they show a moments ago, that one is called the report dashboard. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the report dashboard, what we have to do after we do it, we need to just copy and give in the PowerPoint and present the slide, or we just can present it on the Tableau.
Sir, sometimes you normally, as we've seen in Excel, right? Sometimes you might present Excel. Sometimes you might use, if you're using Tableau as a data analyst tool, you might present in Tableau itself. So again, depending upon the need of the business, depending upon the requirement, we might change these things, sir. So how do you present it is basically defined by the business who gave you that requirement. So be it a client, be it your manager, be it your CFO, or anything for that matter. So we normally do it as per the requirement rather than we do it whatever we like kind of scenario. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you so much.
Most welcome, sir. Anybody else have any questions? Or please revise this thing, and then we'll basically try to have questions in our next sessions as well. Okay. Now another big important thing is big data. Now let's first try to understand what is big data, because there are many jobs you normally commit or you normally work with big data. Big data is different from a typical data, what you normally call as an Excel data set, or a single database in terms of MySQL or MS SQL. Here we are talking about huge databases which normally go to the petabyte size of these databases. So that's why it's called big data. And the big, because of the volume, because the variability, because of the even storage, the way big data is stored. This is what we call decentralized database. Normally MySQL database, MS SQL database, Microsoft SQL database, Oracle, these are all centralized database. What it means, you normally have the database stored on a single system. But in big data, we might have distributed database. So you might have a few tables on your machine, few tables on any other machine, few tables on server, and so on and so forth. So the big data server normally give you access to all these table as a unified legal logical entity. And that's how big data is really get its name from the huge data. It's normally correlates it's to use as a one database, and that's the beauty of it. As we know, in terms of let's say we want to understand that Facebook database for St. Louis region. Could you understand the database Facebook is handling right now? Facebook use something called Hadoop as a data, big data software. This Hadoop is a kind of database file system like scenario where, as you normally see in a file manager, right? You have a file, you have an image file, you have an Excel file, you have a Word file, and you have n number of different files, even text file, CVS file. Like that, in big data, if you normally work with Hadoop, you can unify all such file into a single database and from different computer as well. Now we are not going to go into depth of how do you create it and blah blah things, because that's a kind of database administrator job, and it's really a big scientific way to create a big data. Believe me, it's a process. And then we normally have a big data access to you as an IP address. It's more or less, the access is much similar to the way we do it in MySQL. Or you can get that data, or the database administrator might give you data converted in a CVS or Excel file. That's normally happens. That's a more than 95% of time happens. Or sometimes you might need to write big data query also. It's similar to MySQL query. But let's try to understand why we use big data. Okay, so big data works with a massive amount of unstructured or semi-structured data. What do you mean by unstructured? We have seen in MySQL, you can have names, you can have numbers, or you can have mix and match of numbers. Even you can include images as well. But in big data, that's not it. You can have even programs or downloadable data or the movies. If you know torrent by any chance, torrent is a kind of big data where whenever you start any download, the request keeps going on a recursive manner to those torrent file servers. These are file-based big data, and they might use something like Hadoop file system. Hadoop HOODUP is a kind of software commonly used for big data, and it's a continuous continuous incremental recovery process of these unstructured or semi-structured data. Big data helps to collect those data with a continuous increment and a process them in a structured format, because CVS, Excel, these are all structured format. Even in MySQL, MS SQL, we normally build a structure, and that structure is called table, right? And table have a specified amount of data. In says employee table, you have employee data and something like that. So here it's unstructured. So to build an employee table, I might need to retrieve a couple of files and then start building that table. So there's a processor. Processing happens whenever you retrieve data. In simple words, upcoming data is so complicated and vast that none of the traditional data management tools can effectively store and process it. Here, the word effectively is the most important thing. See, as we've seen in Tableau or Power BI, we have pre-processed visualization tool, right? In terms of big data, we have pre-processed such traditional, untraditional data management tools where you can have the data from a CVS club with the data from a database and so on and so forth. And that's why big data is the new forefront of database. And as we know, even if you use something like WhatsApp also use big data. I believe everybody use WhatsApp, right? So like all such new advanced tool, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, these are a combination of big data and a normal data type of setups where they store big data in terms of trying to have an efficient retrieval mechanism, efficient pre-cooked or pre-programmed retrieval mechanism. So that's why if somebody asks, do you know about big data? You have to just tell them, yes, I know it's a decentralized database. You have an additional, retrieval mechanism built in. And if these two words you can say, the other person, you can understand big data. Okay. And this way we have to basically make sure big data or, we need to understand big data in terms of how we can use it for the data analysis purpose. Big data is a collection of data that's huge in volume, yet growing exponentially with the time. So what do you mean by growing exponential time? If you look at, let's say WhatsApp data for India, it's normally growing per petabyte per day. What does it means? Per day, you might need to add a couple of volume sizing server to archive such data, because WhatsApp is normally asked by quite a few governments to store the data for at least last 3 years plus, so that any legal case can be, we can retrieve such data from WhatsApp and then presenting it to the court of law. And that's why you have to have a kind of to have the services giving like WhatsApp, giving like YouTube, you have to have these storages in place for such and such size and volume and the length of time as well. So that's why length of time is really important in terms of the compliance parameters. It is a data with so large size and complexity that none of traditional management tools can store it and process it effectively. Big data is also data, but with a huge size. The New York Exchange is the example of big data that generates about 1 terabyte of data on a per day basis. So there are new trades. Anybody who have done these stock markets or working with the stock markets or procuring some shares and selling these shares might know. Like a person, the New York Stock Exchange is basically used by quite a good number of even banks worldwide rather than just the shareholders. because even banks put their money in the shares, right, to earn quite good amount of top money. So that's why if you look at New York Exchange, 1 terabyte of data per day is what they are consuming as of now. This is really huge size. The statistics show 500 plus terabytes of new data get ingested into the database of a social media like Facebook, YouTube every day. YouTube is bigger because they have streaming video, their streaming video related file, the descriptions, the indices, the overall video slicing and all those things as well. So YouTube is further bigger. This data is mainly generated in terms of photos and videos, uploads, message exchange, putting comments, and so on and so forth. So could you understand the hugeness of big data? Anybody have worked on big
Yes.
data before? Okay. Have anybody worked on big data before? No, no need. But basically, we should understand the concept of big data, and that's what we are looking for here, right? Now, big data is defined as a complex and voluminous set of information comprising of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured database, which is challenging to manage using traditional data processing tools. It requires additional infrastructure to govern, analyze, and convert into insights. So here we are talking about all type of data, be it a name, be it a movie, be it a photo or something like that. And that's why we have some specialized tools evolved to have all such processing in terms of big database. They're accessing it efficiently. And here, as we can see, it called 4V big data of 4Vs of big data: volume, variety, velocity, and versity. Volume talks about the size of data, variety talks about the different varieties of data, velocity talks about the efficiency by which you're going to retrieve and send the data. Veracity means you can add new models to the data in itself. So you might have on top of second level of variety, as you can say. And this way we can have all these clubbed in a single data called big data as well. And that's how we utilize this big data in terms of data analytical thought process to process the data, build the statistics for such data, and so on and so forth. Normally when we are learning Google Google queries, there that time we have we have used this word big data because Google, what they call it? Give me a minute. Google Analytics, yeah, they normally use big data for their processed, data archival mechanism, so that they can archive all such, user information like user movement, like the user preferences in terms of your email viewing preferences, and so on and so forth. And they create these big data based on human behavior and keep continuously analyzing in the background. It's something like FBI has your file. Similarly, Google also has your file because you have a Google account for your smartphone. If you have two smartphones, you might have two Google files, and so on and so forth. So think it like that. For every user in the world, if Google has those details, like what type of color selection Ravindra is using, and so on and so forth, what type of how often he visits his Gmail, how often he travels to different city, what are the city he's normally traveled to, and so on and so forth. So all these consumer behavioral information is what Google built his empire on. And that's how the data is such an important thing in a day-to-day world, like the way you store, the way it's used in even legal enactments, and so on and so forth. It's really crucial for every business to understand and process such big data, and process such big data progressively, efficiently. And there could be various types of data to be processed for a given need, for a given understanding, for creating such influences about certain particular individuals or customers. Does that make sense to you? Have you understand the might of something called big data?
Yes.
Yes. And this is really crucial, means crucial in the sense we should understand how these guys function in terms of Facebook, YouTube, in terms of a data analyst. Like, okay, how to handle, YouTube handles data. So YouTube have a movie. Let's say Ravindra, uploads this recording, right, to YouTube. So when Ravindra uploads this video to YouTube, he fills in some field like the title of the video, the description of a video, how soon, the start image of the video, the end image of the video, should it be monetary, video. So if somebody watches, should, these things to be channeled via some advertisement or not, and so on and so forth. There are so many things. If you try to upload a YouTube video, you'll know how much data you normally create whenever you just upload a single video. And these all called metadata. So what is a metadata? A data attached to a, unstructured data for the description, like video, like image. Even if you have image, computer couldn't understand the image unless you attach some sort of a metadata. And that's why metadata is a kind of supplemental data attached to a unstructured data like video, image, maps, and so on and so forth. Maps is basically an overlapped image file with a character. So whenever you process your map data, there's a optical recognition process happens in the background where it reads the regional fields, regional metadata from the image itself. But in terms of video, these metadata are normally attached. So rather than uploading single file, you might upload 3-4 files together. Or whenever you upload one file, you type or insert the data in the real time. And that's how we keep building these big data, a combination of various different type of data together to work with, to basically use it with, to basically access it with. Have you understood metadata? There are a good number of computer science scientists who do PhD on metadata, because metadata is such an evolving field where you normally try to access unstructured data efficiently. Okay, does anybody have any questions at this moment? Okay, let me go ahead. Now let's try to understand big data in terms of analytics. Now when it comes to big data analytics, there are around 10 V's normally explained. Volume we already discussed, velocity we already discussed. Velocity is about efficiency, variety is about different type of data, varsity data accuracy in terms of getting the correct unstructured data downloaded. When you download a movie file which is of, let's say, 1 gigabyte, it can be certain data bytes might have been corrupted while downloading. So that's why there are some sort of checksum, they call it checksum, to make sure whatever data came to you, is it complete packet, is it actual sense, it's not got disturbed or hacked or with a different size transfer from the original to the destination, and so on and so forth. The value, the usefulness of a data, how crucial or critical the data is, depending upon the business usage, depending upon the data. Like for me, my bank records are very valuable. For my bank, they are also valuable. For a different bank, it's just a data and something like that. Then the validity, the quality of data, the governance requirement, as we just discussed, the enactment for on WhatsApp to archive their 3 or 5 years data depending upon your enactment in your region. In US and India, we have 3-year bar, or we have given ultimatum to WhatsApp to maintain 3 years data. So with the Facebook, so even if you delete some data, it's not going to get deleted from the WhatsApp. It just get marked, okay, Ravindra, I have deleted such and such video from sharing. But actually the video is also shared and the trace is also shared. Trace in the sense when, what time, what size, and so on and so forth. Variability, the dynamic evolving behavior in terms of data source. Like sometime you might start with the image, then you might start uploading the maps, and so on and so forth. The venue, distributed heterogeneous data from multiple platforms. So a map from a Google is different from a map of maps of the world kind of sites and all. They use different formats. So all such formats has to be analyzed and correct on the fly. Then the vocabulary, Vocabulary is what we normally refer as a localization. So if I have a map data in US as an English, if you go to Spain, it should get translated to the Spain automatically. And that's how we have these vocabularies attached. Well, there are certain challenges in getting it there in terms of the last minute translation. There are some challenging scenario there as well, but still we are trying, we are improving day by day. That localization in Japanese are the best because they keep converting or using vocabulary on a fly. They do convert English like sites to Japanese and vice versa. So in Japanese localization conversion happened at its most matured level. Then we have vagueness in terms of confusion, in terms of meaning of big data and tools used. Let's say big data I have configured with to be used with Hadoop, and one day our management decides let use these, or our company gets collaborated with some different company which is using some different big data tool. So how to convert these across, how to use their what you can say validated verified data with my Hadoop file system. So we normally use a kind of converter, filter, migration, integration tools there as well. So big data have all such tool. First and foremost is to store huge amount of data. Second, to have a kind of file system to access or to locate where this file is stored, what part of file is stored where, and those kind of what we normally call as a indices, and so on and so forth. So big data is a collection of tools. It's not just a single software we are talking about. It's a concept we are talking about. So we need to understand this concept. And if an interviewer asks, so what do you mean by big data, or how do you do big data analytics? So you might have to explain them these 10 V's. Okay, it's simple enough, but yes, we need to practice it. We need to learn it. Big data is really great concept. As a data analyst, we need to have a know-how of such scenarios. Does that make sense? Anybody have any confusion at this moment? Can I explain it more?
Yeah, it would be great if you could explain it a little bit in a simple terms.
Okay, which topic? The big data itself?
It's about the big data analytics.
Okay, as we know, normally we have seen the analytics from a single source, right? Previously, so it's like Excel, Tableau, Google, or Power BI, and so on and so forth. Here we are talking about setting up an analytics from all such different data, including image and videos as well. And for that we might use big data. So big data is the only option, and big data is a concept. I'm not trying to sell any software here. I'm not trying to basically impose on any particular set of software. Big data is a part of DevOps. DevOps is a kind of a set of tools of around 30 plus different softwares, different software vendors. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. Similarly, in big data, you can create a complete free big data by yourself, but still many organizations, they have a mix and match of free tool as well as paid tools. So big data is a concept is achieved by number of different software. And here what we do, the analytics we do in terms of how efficiently you can analyze such big data. And these big data are normally different type of data to be processed as an analytical for an analytical visualization purpose, or for any analysis for that matters. And for that I might use these 10 V's. These 10 V's: volume, velocity, variety, varsity, value, validity, variability, venue, vocabulary, and vagueness. Well, I find this 10 V a kind of a big marketing phrase they've created for big data, but still it's a kind of whenever somebody asks you about big data analysis, the big data analysts describe the process of uncovering trends, patterns, and correlations. These are typical analytical terms, right, in large amount of raw data to help make a data informed decision. These processes use familiar statistical analysis techniques as we've seen in Excel. You can use here as well, like clustering. Clustering in the sense having couple of physical computer refer as a one. That's normally called as a cluster. And regression, you could keep doing it recursively and apply them to a more extensive data sets with the help of newer tools. These are all new modern tools which we use to do big data analytics. Does that make sense, ma'am?
So you mean to say a big data analytics, it's the using the 10 V's of process, different types of process that we are
Right.
able to analyze the big data, which could be unstructured metadata or metadata,
It
right?
includes that actually, ma'am. Plus, there are many more, type of structured or unstructured data.
So what is the difference between this? See, nowadays they call Google Analytics. Every company comes up with some different types of analytics, their own
Right.
analytics, right? So what is
Uh-huh.
the difference? Why are they coming up with different types of analytics? See, at the end of the day, we are all going to analyze that huge data, which could be
Right.
the meta or peta data, and we are going to process in the similar way that everyone. So what difference do you think is between every different analytics that they have started?
Really good question. Frankly speaking, it depends on their organizational culture. It depends on the way of their, or the usage rather.
Okay.
So if you are started working with bank, for them, the banking transactional data is the utmost important. Plus, they want to understand their customer also. Now we have something called KYC. KYC is nothing but a data collection mechanism to sell it to others. Believe me, means if you ask me personally, this is how banks started, making some more bucks, basically selling your data to others. And this is actually practically happening in life. We've seen that, whenever we are doing consumer analytics or trying to understand, Google Analytics in terms of how they and why they collect such data. And this way, even in terms of all the organizations, whenever you start working with, they have a ways and means of generating money, and they might use some different type of analytics as per their benefactor. And that's why there could be any name given to that analytics which might look good, but actually to understand the process we need to be on the ground and make sure we understand what they are doing in terms of their day-to-day work of, or how they are applied such trend analysis for that matters, or any such analytics terminology. And it's quite I'll say loose enough in terms of specifically American culture to label an analytics as the way they feel right, and these things do happen. So when you talk about some analytical label, it can be a mix and match of couple of other analytical processes as well. But normally trend analysis is quite common. We normally analyze trend over time, and these are called as time series analysis also. So again, it's the way we learn, it's the way we explain it to the interviewer also. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yeah, true. Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, as you
Small
said,
time went both ways. I
it
can
is all the
understand.
no, but no, the thing is, at the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
if you see, still it's a marketing concept, like because
Right.
everyone has to handle that big data, no matter whether it's a Google or a Walmart or a Amazon, everybody has to handle that big data. So the
Right.
way they process, they keep their own way of different process
They call it
steps,
they call it
and
the
they
way they
make it
like.
as a marketing. They make it as a marketing tool. So
That's right.
you have to certify it. Yeah, you have to get the certification on it in order to get the job, or you have to understand that process. You get a so this is completely a marketing concept, right?
Right. You might say that. But again, we need to basically, get to an organization and understand these mumbo jumbos, what they believe or what they call, analytical terms. So yes, that's why, whenever you normally get a job, we normally have that support thing. So we have to understand the basic, needs or the way they've applied analyticals, processes there. And then you might try to understand or start understanding their way of working in such scenarios. I know
Very
it,
true.
it basically kind of bit confusing, but when you start working on with an organizations, you'll collect all these detail or their what you can say regional know-hows of their applied processes. And this is a bit of gray area for specifically for data analysts. Similarly, in business analyst term also, you say you gather requirement, but the requirements normally come from a client or a engaged partner, right? So there they have their own way of using vocabularies, and that's why in the project management we have a specific knowledge area called communication management. So we manage all such transitioning of understanding of what you can say connector between different organizations, different technologies, and so on so forth. I know it looks complicating, but it's not that complicating as it look right now. When you start working, things get easier day by day, hour by hour. So please don't worry on such scenario.
It not only looks complicated, it looks confusing because a
I
simple
know.
concept, why they are making it like their own tool, and then they are marketing it in you have to learn this. If this is what my process is, you learn it and you get it certified in order to work in this process, this type of
Right, right.
if you see, every process is also similar how they're handling the data.
Exactly. So that's why I say data analysis is pretty much easy. Only the way we communicate, if you improve or unify it, it really makes life easier. So when you say I want a trend analysis of last 3 months sales, now this is a quite clear business problem we are trying to solve. But some might call it trend analysis, some might call it time series analysis, and so on and so forth. That's why type of data analysis are also a bit confusing, but let's try to play a bit diplomatic here and try to understand how we basically cope up with the interviewer or how interview feels it. Okay, so there can be difference in terms of how do you get these types of data analysis applied on a ground level for a given organization. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But don't worry. Whenever we work on basically on a specific JD, you'll get much more clarity. Okay, let me move forward. Yes. Now, a kind of hands-on project where we normally, have a kind of, try to present ourselves in terms of building some data analytical thought process or trying to apply our learnings in basically making sure to showcase our talent in terms of learning as well. So the duration, it depends on you. Whenever you are ready, just let me know and we'll have the session or trying to review these things. Okay. I am, if you want to, you can download it from Google, any data sheets and try to understand in terms of how to present these data analytical, results in a PowerPoint. We prefer PowerPoint because that's also kind of learning as well. Okay, and yes, you need to come up in terms of a mutually flexible time here onwards, and then we'll basically plan these things in terms of understanding how the hands-on project is done by you. Me or Prerna ma'am will basically with other participants if they are ready to join us and all those things. Okay, and we'll also have mock interview session or a resume review session now, mostly on a one-on-one progressive level rather than everybody should join here. Please guide me whenever we can have these mock interview session specifically for those specified questions, right? And then we'll basically go through it in terms of fine-tuning the answer progressively. Okay, and about hands-on workshop, please choose any type of analytics you want to do in terms of the data downloaded from Google. Like today's the Tableau, person I have shown you, sales analysis. You can take that as well. Or in Google Analysis, we might have a website analysis as a visitor, as a progressive, understanding of the data given to you, and so on and so forth. Please choose on your own type of analytical techniques and thought processes, and we might come up with a specified concrete reason for having these data analysis to be done.
So could we
Any question on these?
could we do a research on what type of analytics that we want to work on, and then um, text you that we are interested, that I am
Yeah, sure,
interested in?
definitely, ma'am. Yeah, why not? I'm open for that. I don't want to restrict to your specific analysis because depending upon your aspirations, you might choose certain analysis better than other, or you might find it's a correct fit for what type of jobs you're looking for. And believe me, analysis is a huge world. So let's not restrict ourselves on so much known analysis. But again, whenever we start interviewing, you'll get to know the organizations, you'll get to know the different type of analytics they use based on the JD. So you might have a look at a couple of JD in the sense job descriptions. So we might work with that as well. Does that
Um,
answer it? Yeah, go ahead, sir, please.
so I have a question on here. How can we understand that a company use kind of analytic tool? How can we understand that the style of analytic in one company?
Normally, we took Excel as our basic tool. So let's concentrate on Excel first. Okay, you might learn Tableau, Power BI, Google Analytics, and if a company is insisting on certain other tools as well, as you said, Click and also, we'll learn that as
Yeah.
well. Okay, but please keep Excel as your what you can say basic raw tool to do data analyst.
Yeah, I got it. But how can we prepare the interview? For example, we're going
Mhm.
to prepare the interview for a Wells Fargo bank. So
Okay,
how
sure.
do we know? How can we understand that what kind of tool they use, what kind of analytic style that they can use, and how can we prepare for the questions?
Sure. Really great question. Normally in job description, they give a good amount of hint in terms of what type of data analytical tool they use predominantly. And that tool is basically what we need to concentrate on. In terms of data
Okay.
analytical type, whatever, normally they give in a JD. Have a look at a couple of JDs, sir. You can go to Monster, Dice, Nokri, and all those things and try to find out, so a couple of JDs and do let me know.
Okay. So
Sure.
as you mentioned, like long time back in the session, that sometimes the job descriptions is there, but the way that they ask questions is not the same, or it's not even similar to the JD. How do we prepare that, or we just like use our domain's knowledge to answer the questions?
Sir, that's what we were preparing for so long, so many weeks, sir. Uh,
Okay,
these are
gotcha.
all questions normally, like why Excel, we have answered that. And this is like, learning, continuously learning. Are there any echoes or something? I don't know why. But yes, so we are continuously improving ourselves, we are continuously learning ourselves on such thing, like all the standard questions where it's not mentioned in the JD, right? And that's why we learn these extra tool as well. And please keep having look at these recordings as well, so that if you have missed anything, if you haven't prepared for this question. I was suggesting you questions also throughout the trainings, right, sir?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So that's how we learn, sir. And in any case, normally I'll be there with you. Okay, so please
Thank you.
don't be there with you on every question confusion you might have, and we might have some extra call as well. But now it's your responsibility to let me know if you have any problem, and we might schedule a session.
Okay.
Okay,
I have one last question before let you go.
you can keep asking questions. Go ahead, sir.
So the question regarding to the big data that you touched like 5 minutes ago. So are we going to just understand the big data, or are you going to teach us about Hadoop, PIV, or those
No,
kind
no,
of
sir.
um,
Okay, those are quite technical things. No, no, no. Okay, let me tell you. Let me give you an idea what is Hadoop is. Hadoop is called Hadoop file system. So what you do, you connect to number of such different databases as a file. It's a difficult thing.
it's
I used to teach
so
Hadoop, believe me.
difficult. They
It's
use in
quite
Google or
complicated.
Microsoft something like this, and I'm not
Exactly.
really sure kind
What
of
we need to
code.
understand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we need to understand is basically what is a big data in terms of concept. And in terms of these 4 V's and 10 V's, if you can, explain it what is big data, that's more than enough, sir. They are not looking for
Okay,
database developer. They are
gotcha.
looking for data analysts, right? So we need to use
Yes.
the retrieve data, or sometimes you might need to retrieve in terms of they've given you IP address, like we seen in MySQL, right? Get data from a website. We worked on
Okay.
that, right? We have covered, I think
Yes.
we have collected data from some environmental agency or something like that. Okay, so do practice on that, and you'll get good confidence, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Anybody? Sure, most welcome, sir. And I'm there for you. Don't think like, we had concluded our regular session. We couldn't have session and all. Only we need to plan it out. Okay, so please do send your request via WhatsApp or via any other means so that we can have some additional sessions. For mock interview, we might have a planned session. Let's say today is 21st, right? No, today is 20th. So when do you want to have a extra mock interview session? Who are have prepared on those standard questions yet? Anyone worked on those standard interview questions? Okay, no problem. So let me rephrase again. Please work on a questions like tell me about yourself, tell me about your current project, alright, and what do you mean by data analysis? What are the 5 steps of data analysis, and so on and so forth. So please work on these 4-5 standard questions, and we'll see how we can have a mock interview like Harini ma'am have given in a last time, and then we can learn more also from that. Please, let's plan this interview. Whenever you have prepared, do let me know on WhatsApp, and we can have a mock interview session. Okay, so this is our last session in terms of this batch. The next batch will start in a week or 2 weeks time. Let me sort that logistic out. So most probably, I believe, in the last week of March or the first week of April, we'll start a new batch. Okay, we have good number of new participants also, and we need to start from scratch, and everybody of you can join it as well. So there's nothing like you've completed so you can't join. Please do join, and we'll keep discussing more about data analysis in a progressive manner. Okay, any questions so far?
Meanwhile, if you want any help offline, so could we text and find out your availability via
Yes,
WhatsApp?
yes ma'am. WhatsApp is the best.
Okay.
I'm there for you. We need to work on our interview or profile. Do let me know. I'll be happy to we'll work it out a time, mutual time together, and we'll do that as well. Please don't feel like you are working alone or something. Work in a team. Let me know how I can help, and I'll be happy to help you out. We have to grab a job, and that's our main motto. Learning is fine. We can keep learning throughout our life, but let's start earning now. Does that make sense? Are you with me, sir, madam?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start working on that. Let's start working on profile. Let's start working on these mock interview things so that we can start working and earning some good dollars. Let's
Hello.
prepare. Yes, please
Hello.
go ahead. Yes.
Sir, I did not get any recording mails regarding recordings or this date course.
Have you joined new, ma'am?
Yeah. Surya, I'm Surya.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am, have I shared you the Google knowledge base and Drive? Have you shared your Gmail ID, ma'am?
Yeah, I
With me?
shared with you. Yeah.
So
Yes.
you might have got access, ma'am. Everything is there. Please have a look at it. There's a Google Drive where we have all the older batch, new batch recordings there, YouTube links, and in a new, Google Drive, we have hands-on worksheets, different books, and so on and so forth. So please,
Oh.
anybody who don't have access to this Google Drive, there are 2 Google Drive, one from Guru School Training, one from Ravindra Pandey. You should have access to these 2 Google Drive. One, the knowledge base is basically the GuruSchools training at GuruSchools.com's Google Drive, where we have kept older recordings, YouTube links and all. In Ravindra Pandey's Google Drive, we have hands-on workshop, sorry, hands-on Excel sheet which we have used. We have some few recordings, plus we have some books to read to, books to refer to. I
That's
might
called
upload
data analysis share, right? That's called data
Yes,
analysis.
data analyst. That's right, ma'am. That's right. Anybody else have any question?
Yes, sir. I have question.
Please go ahead,
I
ma'am.
have question regarding when we do the LinkedIn, the resume, and then I was feeling like if we have like put the certificates, okay, we certify for took the class for data analyst, So that's it's gonna be more. They're gonna focus for like, okay, call the interview because we are certified for that. So when we put it that our I don't know when they're gonna give certificate something, we're gonna put it in our resume. So isn't it? It's gonna be more helpful.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Resume will be given by the HR. So please coordinate with your HR. Sorry, the certificates. And let me check out. If I get to know the date, I'll mention on your WhatsApp as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So we can.
Excuse me.
Rita, ma'am, when you joined, ma'am, when you started?
I started when your first section started when
Oh,
January.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Then great, no problem.
yeah, yeah.
So work on with resume and LinkedIn with your HR and RRRP sessions so that you can get it up and running on that way as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Sonia started same time.
No, okay, no problem, ma'am. Yes, Surya, ma'am, do you have a question for me?
Yeah, sir, can you please share the Google Drive link for me again, please? I not find it.
Oh man. Okay, could you please share your email address? I'll try to put it again. Email address in the WhatsApp group. Gmail address
Yeah,
in the WhatsApp group, and I know I'll do that again. No problem. It happens sometimes.
okay, sure. Thank you. That's
No
it.
problem. Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Sandeep ji, do you have any question for me, sir?
Same question. I just needed the past classes because today's my first day, first class.
Oh, welcome, sir. Please, share your Gmail address, and I'll, share these things. So we normally used to share Drive, as I just said. Okay.
Okay.
And if you have any challenge, do let me know. I'm there on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay. I'm in India right now, so we might have some time differences, but I'll try to answer as early as I can.
Okay.
And we'll start our new batch in 1 week or 2 weeks time at the max. Please don't worry on that as well.
Okay.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.